Ron, the way you and I messaged each other a little bit here earlier, we talked about maybe setting up a community call or having a weekly check-in with some of the local businesses and downtown Louisburg and even throughout the county or neighboring counties if they want to join in. But as we talked about, I think the biggest issue right now is that we need to get up and do something. We need to start being very proactive. We need to, when businesses open back up and the shelter in place is over and the doors are open again, we need to be ready for it.
Yeah, I've even thought about some of the people that are shut down now. Certainly, if they're in a retail business or whatever, they've got product that's sitting idle. Some of the people that probably never even considered having online stores should be using this time maybe to try to figure those kind of things out. We are. We've actually had somebody that was kind enough to write out a program for us so that our customers could actually go online and place their orders and everything. We haven't done that yet, but everybody at this point is trying to reimagine and reinvent their business.
Right. So are you using the Square store as an online store, or do you have a separate program you put together?
We've got Square, and that's what we do is we send out emails with the link to the to Square so that everything's paid online and secure setup. But it would be nice right now. Every order's coming through Facebook Messenger or texting one of us. We'd like to get it to the point that we could have it, a real time set up so they could go on there. They could order something on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon, whatever, knowing that this is the day it would be ready for you.
Mm-hmm. So what new revenue models are you looking into? You doing growler fills, a little bit of delivery? What are there, any particular things that you're looking into? Merchandise sales online, anything like that?
Yeah, we haven't done merchandise sales, but I can tell you that's coming. We've the first week, we just finished our fourth week of filling growlers and cans. The first week I made deliveries. It was more of a gimmick, to be honest with you, in the beginning, just to see if I could drum up some sales. And then the last 3 weeks was a little more busy, so it'd have been a little bit tougher to do deliveries. But we're going to continue to try to do that. We're actually waiting right now. We've got what they call howlers instead of the 64-ounce growlers. They're 32-ounce. We hope they'll be here this coming week with our logo on it. And I said we'd never get into growlers and things like that, but you change your business plan when the environment changes so much that it's not applicable anymore.
That's right.
And I didn't think it necessarily was a sustainable option, but we look like we're going to be okay if we do that. It's certainly is. We're not talking about sales like we were having, but right now I think most businesses in this situation are just treading water, trying to see what they can do to pay their bills and just hold on.
That's right. You mentioned revenue models. I'm seeing many businesses in the area and surrounding areas really doing things differently. I saw Cook Shack Catering, they're doing family meal preps and deliveries and pickup.
Yep.
And that's wonderful. And the curbside pickup, online ordering, Blue Collie's moved into that.
Yep.
But I think about as we're evolving and some of those services are starting up that you haven't done before. Do you see having to continue doing that and continuing that business model once you open up and things get back to, I guess that's a new normal, so to speak. But
yeah, you just said it, Chuck, because none of us know what the normal is, what the new normal is going to be. I think there's going to be a certain market out there that's going to be, for lack of better terms, just afraid. I think there's going to be a lot of people that they've secluded themselves, and they're going to rely on online and curbside and things like that for a lot of their goods, things that we took for granted, quite honestly, and I think we're having to think, okay, how can we now reach that audience that's not going to come back into gathering spots, and they're not going to come sit in restaurants and things like that. You mentioned Cook Shack. It was a great example. We actually bought meats from them, I think, week before. you know, they have a supplier. They're obviously their sales are cut down now. This past week we had Strickland's Catering. We bought meals from them and delivered them to my parents and some different people. So again, people that thought they would just prepare meals for things like that, now they're having to. So they're reaching out to different ways to market their product.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one big aspect of trying to come up with new revenue models and to market what you have is I think you've got to reach out to your customer base and find out what they need and what they want. You mentioned earlier when we were talking that you miss that social interaction and you miss that connection that you have with your customers, and well, your customers also miss that interaction with the businesses that they normally frequent.
Yeah.
And so how do we reach out to our customer base and find out what it is can we be doing for them right now when they're at home or when everything has become social and electronic and not in person? You know, how do we still reach out to them? So I think that's an issue that many businesses need to start addressing.
Yeah, and I think so. Trying to do some kind of format like we're doing here, if we can build on that, there's people that have ideas that probably we've never even thought of. And if the more we can talk and get people to come together, we're going to just feed off of each other's businesses. I've actually, I won't name names, but I had somebody that approached me that last week. His business with food is based on delivery, and we're trying to figure out how we can help him and he can help us. Certainly, I can't have people that are not part of our business delivering beer. But if I can team up with him and help him reach a bigger audience by providing packages, we're going to look at something like that. I never thought I'd be in a delivery business, but you have to react, and some things are not going to work. But that's the fun part of being a business guy. I get, you know, you try something. If it doesn't work, you got to have thick skin and just say, hey, it didn't work, but we're going to move on. I joke, but I've said, look, I'll deliver beer on a slingshot if it makes somebody happy. I'll buy a bicycle with a big basket and a bale going up Main Street. I mean, you've got to try to find some things too that almost, I'm making light of the situation, but let's face it, you got to find some humor in something every day. And I've even said, if it makes somebody happy to have a good laugh at me riding up the street on a bicycle, you know, making deliveries, then let's do it. You know, we're all in this thing together, and we've just got to try to figure out, we've got to get through the initial, I would say, shock and awe. I mean, honestly, in your lifetime, did you ever think you'd be going through this?
Not at all. Not at all.
No. This is the history book kind of thing you read about. And so now I'm thinking, okay, how do we sustain during this time period? But then how do we come out of it? What is it going to be like? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
We got a question from the people watching. Chris Edwards wants to know when he can get a fish tank down at Tar Banks. He said he's asking for a friend.
For a fish tank?
Yeah.
Just for him, I tell you what I'll do. I'll get a fish tank down there, but he can find the fish to put in it and maintain it.
Does Pete Smith still have theirs in the lobby?
They did last time I was there.
There you go. Maybe he can just go up there and visit once in a while.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I know maybe that may be onto something though. Maybe what we do is we put a fish tank in and then charge for a separate fishing license so you can come up there and fish in it.
That's right. That's right. Well, Ron, you and I talked about maybe starting these community calls and trying to get some other businesses involved. You know, sending out some invites, or if anyone wants to join in. And, you know, I think with Zoom, we can bring in up to 100 at a time if we want to. But I think if we can get 5 or 10 at a time that join in and want to share some information on a weekly basis, we can do this live and put it out there. Or if we have some that prefer, we can just get together and talk about issues and do it on a private Zoom call, and just for those that are involved.
Yeah.
And I think some of what we'd like to run down, as we talked about, Gene and I have Zoom calls Monday through Friday at work on a daily basis. And we address a few items every day with our team. And the first thing we go through is we talk about we share some good news and high satisfactions for the week. And so I think it's important to start out and look for the bright side, look for the positives. And
Right.
so always looking for what's positive, what's out there, and what your high satisfactions are. And then we go through and we talk about what we're working on for that day. What do we hope to accomplish, and what are our priorities and tasks to get done for that day. So it keeps us on track, with our strategy and our priorities and what we're doing, to make sure we're working on the right things each day. And you have a limited amount of time each day, so you want to make sure you're focusing on the right things. Then we look at obstacles and issues and bottlenecks and what's holding you back from accomplishing what you need to do. And then we have the last item is we just open the floor. What's the big question of the day? What's something that is just really weighing on you that you need some help to get done? And so I think having some community calls once in a while, or maybe at least on a weekly basis, could be a positive thing for some of these businesses right now that the doors are closed and they're trying to figure out what the next step is, trying to reinvent themselves. And so maybe we can kind of run down some of these with us or with you and put you on a hot seat and ask you, what's your good news? What's your high satisfaction for last week or for the last few days?
Well, I tell you, man, I try to take things very simple. I try to make sure every day when I get up, if I'm vertical, I feel like, okay, the good Lord gave me an opportunity. And I try to just be positive. And I'm like everybody else. I let things get me down sometimes and everything. But in the big picture, if you're up and you've got a chance to get up and do something, try to make the best of it and just be thankful. So that's more of just a personal thing rather than even a business thing. Just try to be thankful. And things may not go
when you have the right positive personal attitude, that'll carry over into your business affairs.
Yeah, the thing is, I've always thought too, there's always somebody, not necessarily when I say looking up to you, there's somebody looking at you at least. So, and same way, we all have somebody we look up to. And, you want to at least portray something positive if you can, so that you don't give that person some kind of negative thoughts or whatever, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. So what are you working on right now? What's the next steps for Tar Banks in the next 30 days?
We're still brewing. We just finished up a brew last week that probably be transferred in the next day or two. Hopefully be ready to release, not this coming week, but week after, hopefully. And we've got another one we're going to be working on. We're for me, it's a personal thing as well as with Mark. It's personal for us to keep trying to produce good product and everything, but it's also to show the community, hey, we're not going anywhere. We're still trying to put, we're not quitting. We're going to keep trying to provide new things for you. It isn't the greatest setting. It's sort of frustrating when your idea of a new release, especially in a place our size, is a really big deal. Our last one, like I said, we tried to do a Facebook Live, and our well, I'm not very tech savvy, so it didn't work too well. I couldn't get Mark patched in with us. And, but again, the social side of that is lost. So, but we're going to continue to brew. We're going to continue to do the growler fills every week. And who knows? I mean, I don't know what other things we can do right now, but we'll keep thinking of them.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing to stay in touch with your customer base? How are you? I know you said you missed the social interactions. Or you guys, you mentioned doing emails or
well, we do Facebook. We should be doing Instagram. We should be doing Twitter and things like that. Quite frankly, we don't like we should. And that's, I'll take the heat for that. It's one of those things. I try to do Facebook, but then I'll get, several customers go, man, I'm not doing Facebook anymore. I'm doing Instagram. And pretty soon it turns into another full-time job, just trying to keep up with social media.
Oh, it does. It does. I see a lot of groups that have turned to creating more video content during this time when they are not able to interact with customers one-on-one or in their business. They're turning more towards the video aspect.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is more educational and, talking about their product or service or providing content. I've seen hairdressers actually giving you tips on how to color your own hair at home during this time.
Wow.
And if you don't make a huge mess out of it. So, they're telling their customers how to do things themselves, some DIY projects, and giving them tips to try to get them through this, this point in time. So,
right.
You guys is Mark doing any educational videos on brewing and talking about the different styles of beer and educating customers that maybe are too timid to ask? Or
no, that'd be a great thing to do, because he loves to talk about it, and he really knows his stuff. I joke with him sometimes when we're back there brewing. He starts explaining all these different things that are happening, and I'm just like, okay, you're gonna have to bring it down a notch to my level. But yeah, that could be something we could do. I think people would probably enjoy it. Maybe even tell about the different beers that we have and things like that. I've thought about trying to do maybe a weekly newsletter, or maybe a bi-weekly newsletter to email out, because certainly through the way we're doing our sales now, I've got the email addresses. I've been very reluctant, though, because I admit I get tired of the same people bombarding me with the same emails over and over again. And I don't want to get it so that people come in and they open up their email and say, oh, it's those guys again. So I've been reluctant on that, but that may be something we start looking at, even if it's once a month, maybe just say, hey, here's what's coming down the line with some new beers. Here's what we've got on tap by other breweries, and trends we're seeing and things like that. But right now, honestly, we're all just sort of reeling and trying to figure out. Some of the breweries aren't even trying curbside service now. They just literally they've shut down during this time period. So I tell people, I feel like, we were in a heavyweight fight. We took a punch to the gut, and we took a couple of deep breaths and said, okay, let's just try to make it to the end of the round.
Right.
So anyway, but some of those ideas, like I said, newsletters and emailing people and things like that, probably not bad ideas at all.
Well, I know I keep seeing and reading on some of the marketing posts, and that video seems to be king at this point, and it's just taking over everything.
Great.
What about from the social aspect of it, trying to host on Zoom, like some of your Family Feud games and stuff like that, where you could get groups on Zoom and have them do a little Family Feud back and forth, some weekly social thing sponsored by Tarbanks, something like that. That seems like that might be fun. I don't know how you could do darts, but some kind of trivia or something.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but it's funny you say something about the darts. There's actually a dart app out there, and some of our people have been playing in our league. It's just, I guess it works like the Zoom, that one person goes, they've got a camera on their board, and then they go back and it goes to the next person. So I haven't taken part of that because Rita doesn't really like darts in her living room, but yeah, I mean, you're right. That is, again, it goes right back to reinventing yourself and trying to find different things to do. And if that would probably be something fun to try.
I mean, I know some of those things don't generate sales, but they keep you in their minds, as they're, because everybody's on social media right now, because some people that, they don't have anywhere to go right now or whatever. Right. And so it's hot and they're watching those things. And then when this is over, they'll remember, that was the guy that entertained us, kind of thing. Yeah. And I know, like the fitness center in Louisburg is doing the workouts, Facebook Live. Of course, that's not getting any sales for them, but it's keeping them in your mind, and when this is over, you'll think, you know what, I need to go join that gym because those guys really know what they're doing, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, all we're trying to all do is just get through this. And if it brings somebody some pleasure for 15 or 20 minutes, that might be enough. And you're not even looking at it from a business standpoint now. But you're right. If it just, they think about, gosh, they were there when I needed them most, then hopefully they'll come back. And it's funny with the gym, we had just teamed up to try to do like a merged run club, and had been trying to promote that. And then all of a sudden it was just like the faucet got turned off.
Right.
But I hope we'll get that back going, hopefully, once everything settles down.
You talk about what entertaining or being in touch with your customers right now, but I think when the doors open again, It may be gradual or maybe all at once, but there's going to be a mad rush to grab that territory back because everyone is going to be hungry for sales, hungry for revenue, and to get those customers back. And so I think the competition for sales now is going to be greater than ever, at least I'd say in the next 90 to 120 days after the shelter in place order is over. So I think it's vitally important that you stay in touch with your customers now, so that when your doors open, they come to you and not to a competitor who was reaching them through social media while silent.
That's right.
It's almost like right now is your competition period. You know, who's standing out right now? And, you know, I'm thinking, I'm making my list when we're ready to go back out. You know, what are the first few things I'm going to want to hit? And that list might be made by what I see people doing now, and who's out there talking about, you know, their business and their products, or like you said, just entertaining us.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. And who tried to get the products to them in the downturn? I can tell you, I mean, it's even with the restaurants, the social aspect is gone, but it's been good to be able to go to these different restaurants we have in town, even if we're just getting it to go, to at least show our face and thank them for their support and thank them for still hanging tough and being open. And again, you're right. When they do release this thing, some of these places are going to be busting at the seams because everybody's going to try to get in at the same time, I think, just to get out of the house and just celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to throw this out there, what are some things you wish you were seeing other industries doing that you're missing? You know, what are you missing most while you're at home? You know, I mentioned we're missing going to the coffee shop and hanging out on Saturday morning. I really enjoyed that, and I miss the food truck scene, and I miss going out for that. And those are things that I'm really looking forward to when the doors open back up. But what is it you're missing?
I'm missing the social side of things. I miss going to Fiesta. I miss going to El Perico, the coffee shop. It's not about the commodity for me as much as it is the social thing. I didn't know how much I missed people until they weren't available. So that's what I miss most right now. I miss the fact that I just don't feel comfortable just driving over and spending a bunch of time with my parents in case I've been around. You know, I'm still secluded pretty much. I mean, I go to an office with just a few people. Everybody else is at home. But, you know, I don't want to be that guy that ended up taking something if I'd been exposed to it somewhere. So I miss just the things we took for granted. Getting in the car, going to see your parents, going to see your grandkids. If you want to we went for a ride, I guess a couple of weeks ago, went up toward Warren County, and we were like, hey, let's just go check out downtown Warrenton. We thought, well, why? Because there's nothing open, you know. So it's like having a reason to get out of the house and go to a spot, but then you realize there's nothing. That spot's going to be empty. So I miss those kind of things, and we've taken them for granted. I know I have. I've taken so many things for granted that are not here. Like you said, the coffee shop. You know, we popped in yesterday. I think it was my days are off Friday. They were open while we were doing our sales. You know, you pop in and it's small talk. It's not like it normally is where you just sit around and shake hands and things.
Mm-hmm.
Chips and cheese dip.
Yeah, that's right.
Unlimited chips and cheese dip.
That's right. That's right.
You know, we're kind of like cutting up the corn tortillas and making our own chips, you know, and they only go so far.
That's right. No matter what, Tostitos is not. It's not the same thing.
That's right. That's right.
I know our kids are missing El Perico big time.
Yeah. We went. I think we ate there. Must have been like Monday or Tuesday night. You know, but like I said, bringing it home is not the same. But we are learning to cook at home more. I mean, that's something that I've been bad. We go out just about every day and eat at least one meal. And so now I joke that we've had to find a new place to hide the Christmas gifts because we're using the stove again. But
all right. Well, Ron,
all right,
hopefully,
what do you miss, Chuck?
What do I miss?
Yeah.
missed the food trucks. I missed my haircut. Food trucks and haircut. That's what I missed.
Maybe you're onto something. Maybe that'd be a good business plan.
Hey, the mobile haircut business. That might
That's
be
right.
it. Roll right up in the back of the truck and cut it right in the back.
That's right.
Now there's a new revenue model for you.
There you go. There you go.
Imagine mounting one of those old school barber chairs right in the back of a food truck and just roll up the back.
That's right.
Big screen TV in there to watch a ball game.
Well, are we waiting a while on that too, though, won't we?
That's right. Replays from 20 years ago is not cutting it anymore.
That's right. I can only watch State win the '83 championship, but so many times.
Yeah, I do enjoy that game, but like I said, after a while, it does get a little bit old.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen on the next play.
That's
right.
Every
play in the game becomes too much.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Well, Ron, hopefully we can get a few more people in here next time. Maybe we'll send out some invitations, or maybe we need to come up with a date, have a standard time of the week that might be best to do this.
Yeah, I think maybe even almost putting out some feelers just for people to different things we can all talk about and get people in to join us and toss out ideas and just what do they see going on? Because there's going to be some trends that we're going to start seeing here. And it's who knows where it's going to start, but it'll eventually be just a new norm, I would think, for the nation. It's going to happen, and who knows what it'll be. I think right now, though, one of the things we have seen that businesses that did not set up to be online businesses in order to sustain will have to become more of their business will come from online sales. That's
it. We talked about Square, and Square has an option to set up an online store. So
yeah.
You actually have that available for and publish your products and your services and all online to pick from.
Yeah, we may have to put a barber chair in the back. We may have.
That's it.
Oh, me.
We could do a Sunday night community call, have something once a week, Sunday evening. That way you could reflect on what happened last week and think about, what you got going on for the next week.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, I might do that. Maybe I'll set up an event and for next Sunday. I guess 5:30 sound good?
Works for me.
I'll host it and see if anybody wants to connect in and I've got the Zoom Pro account, so I probably need to do it. But Ron, certainly hope you can join us each time. But if you're not able to, maybe you can spread the word and get some.
Yeah, the biggest thing I want to do is just spread the word so we can get some different people on here talking. And like I said, if one person gets something out of it, it was worth it. That's right.
We want to get active. We want people thinking about what they're going to do on the next step, and instead of just sitting back and waiting or feeling despair or sulking in the current times, but you've got to take action.
That's right.
You have to do something. You have to do.
And it's okay to feel despair. I think we've all felt it, but it's how you react to it, because you don't want to end up making it a permanent effect on you because you couldn't get out of your like I said, have your pity party. Let's all have it. We've all had it,
Right.
But at some point you just got to say, okay, I'm either in or I'm out. And if I'm in, then what am I going to do? And it's okay to hash things out with your neighbors. Except because we're all feeling it from some way or another.
That's right. And if you're not feeling it now, there's going to be a delayed reaction across just about every industry, 30, 60, 90, 120 days down the line.
That's right.
There's a cascading effect that will be happening for sure.
That's right. And even when the things turn around, there's going to be a lot of people that were have gone through some savings if they were fortunate enough to have it, and they're not going to have, depending on what your market is, they may not have extra money to be even coming to you now anyway once they release it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I've seen some companies repackaging and repricing some of their services and their products from, if they normally had a $150 product or service, they're now breaking that down to a $25 product that not as much content or not as much to it, but it's bits and pieces that consumers can purchase or afford at that time to still enjoy some of those aspects. But you may have to scale it back a little bit, not cut your price on what you normally do, but drop back your product or your service offering a little bit and put that down to a smaller, more affordable.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, let's see what happens and see if we can get some people to join in, each week and just see. And we need to get Chris Edwards to get his fish tank figured out. And
Now,
I
Chris
say we
did-
start off putting it in the purpose accountant's office first.
Ooh. How about a goldfish pond out back? We'll try that.
There you go.
I did want to point out, Chris did comment and said that they're still planning to take a kid fishing event in June. I believe it is.
Yep.
So I hope that works out. That's always the Northern Sportsman still planning the kid fishing event in June, he says. So that's good.
Yeah, and he should be able to do social distance and everything. I would think that would be that would work. I hope so. Anyway, that's a huge event.
It is, and that would be some good news and some high satisfaction to share with if we're still able to have that event and the kids able to come out and enjoy that. So that'd be
Yep,
great.
absolutely.
All right, well, Ron, certainly appreciate you trying this out with us tonight. I saw you were going to go live at 5 and commented, so we're figure we'll try something a little different, and maybe we can spread the word and get some other people in and try to share what's happening with some of the local businesses or surrounding businesses and what they're doing to move forward and try to spur some innovation and encourage some others that good times are ahead. It might take a while, but it's going to take some work, but I think we can get there.
That's right. And like I said, maybe just when you get up tomorrow morning, your feet hit the floor, just be thankful you're vertical and try to make the best of it.
That's it. All right. Appreciate it, Ron.
All right, man. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right. We'll see you. Take care.
Good night.
All right. Bye.